During a March 6, 2023 meeting, Edward Didas Fede, a project implementation specialist at the National Housing Corporation, informed the tenants of CDC Blocks U, V, W, X, Y, and Z that their buildings were structurally unsound. This announcement raised serious concerns among the residents about their housing situation, especially for the tenants of CDC Block X, which had been identified for immediate demolition due to safety risks. Housing Minister Richard Frederick, speaking a few days after this meeting, highlighted the severity of the situation and the need for relocation of tenants for their safety.
About 2 weekends ago, I got a call that part of a balcony was literally falling. Literally falling. As you'll have seen, I had to summon my members of my team to keep it up with props, with steel props. So it's not a situation where I want anybody to leave. We are not prepared as a government to interfere with the comfort of any of the residents of the CDC. However, that has to be balanced with the safety of the occupants. And as we can see, we have a report that indicates that the buildings are structurally unsound. It doesn't have to take a rocket scientist to tell you that.
After relocation issues were settled between the housing minister and the Block X tenants, the building was demolished in October 2023. Speaking on the sidelines of a parliamentary sitting on October 3, 2023, a couple days after the demolition, the housing minister indicated that the fate of 5 additional buildings also deemed structurally unsound would be decided following structural assessments. He again emphasized the urgent need for action regarding these decades-old buildings.
All remember what happened in Turkey some time ago. There was a tremor, a very light tremor, and hundreds of people lost their lives. I have never seen it happen like that. Contractors were arrested swiftly and were even executed because they ought to have known that the buildings were unsafe. Persons take advantage of the opportunity to live within the city circuit for a very small premium. And had I been in a situation like them, I probably would have wanted to do the same. But this government is a government that puts the interests of the people first, and certainly, most certainly, the interest, the safety, and everything else is of paramount importance to us, and we must ensure that we do what we do with immediacy to ensure that persons live within a very safe environment.
Since then, not much has been said about the plans for these buildings. At Monday's pre-cabinet press conference, the housing minister was asked whether the plans for the 5 buildings were still in effect.
Well, I'm not sure about demolishing 6 and whose plan it was. It certainly was not mine. At the end of the day, one has to balance the inconvenience caused to persons who reside there and who have made the CDC their homes for a number of years versus making available proper land, good land, for developmental purposes. What has to be done, and I'm not saying that it is done or it will be done, the structural integrity of those buildings have to be assessed. I know that was done some time ago, and some of them may have been found wanting in terms of being structurally sound to withstand any kind of, significant tremor. But we can look at it.
The housing minister was quick to state that any plans to demolish the CDC blocks would occur if deemed necessary.
I don't want to put anybody on notice that we are going to demolish today or tomorrow. If at any point in time it becomes a health hazard, it becomes dangerous for persons to, occupy, then invariably as a government we will move in and to ensure that the safety of the people are to the forefront of our minds, and we will do what is necessary to ensure that no one is in harm's way in terms of those buildings collapsing at any time.
The deteriorating condition of the CDC buildings has been a contentious issue for years. During the previous administration of Alan Shasney, plans were announced to relocate tenants after assessments determined that several buildings were structurally unfit. For the DBS News World, Zane Romulus reporting.